When I came home from the hospital a day early, the last thing I expected was to find my husband in bed with another woman. But what happened next didn't just ruin his life, it shattered his mistress's life forever. My name is Linda, and this story changed my life completely. I had just spent 4 days in the hospital after gallbladder surgery. Not exactly a fun time, but the doctors said everything went well. The surgery was tough, with some complications, and honestly, I was terrified something might go wrong. I remember lying there the first day after surgery, hooked up to an IV, thinking about David. My husband visited every day, bringing my favorite flowers, white roses, holding my hand, talking about work. He seemed so worried about me. "How are you feeling, sweetheart?" he'd ask, kissing my forehead. "Better when you're here," I'd reply, and he'd give me that special smile that still made my heart flutter, even after 7 years of marriage. But the night before I got discharged, he seemed distracted. He kept checking his phone, replying to messages. When I asked who it was, he said, "Work, babe. Big presentation tomorrow. Sorry I'm distracted." I believed him. David was always a workaholic, a mid-level manager at a big consulting firm. His career meant everything to him, and I understood and supported that. When Dr. Smith, a kind-eyed, gray-bearded older man, told me Thursday morning that I could go home a day early, I was thrilled. "Your recovery is going brilliantly, Linda," he said, smiling as he reviewed my chart. "I rarely see such cooperative patients. You can head home. But remember, no lifting anything over 10 pounds and lots of rest. Don't play the hero." Blushing, I asked, "What about intimacy with my husband?" He chuckled. 2 weeks, if there's no pain. Listen to your body." I decided not to call David. I wanted to surprise him. I pictured his joy when he saw me home early. Maybe we'd order my favorite Chinese takeout, watch our favorite show, and he'd hold me gently, careful not to hurt me. I'd missed our home so much during those 4 days. The smell of his morning coffee, the sound of his razor in the bathroom, our evening kitchen chats about his work and my day at the design studio. We'd been married for 7 years, met in college, and I still got butterflies when he kissed me unexpectedly or said he loved me. Our friends often envied our relationship, saying we were like something out of a romantic movie. The taxi, an old yellow sedan driven by a retiree named Frank, pulled up to our house at 3:30 p.m. Frank even helped carry my bag to the door. "Take care of yourself, young lady," he said with fatherly concern. "And don't rush. Health comes first." Our neighborhood was quiet, green, with neat houses and white picket fences. We bought our 2-story home with a cozy attic 3 years ago. Our dream come true. I still remember standing on the porch the day we bought it, David saying, "This is where we'll be happy, Linda. This is where we'll start a family." Kids. That was a sore spot. We'd been trying for 2 years with no luck. The doctors said to be patient, not to stress. David always reassured me, "It'll happen when it's meant to. The important thing is we're together." I climbed the familiar steps to the front door, still feeling soreness in my abdomen, my hand instinctively touching the stitches under my clothes. When I turned the key in the lock, I was struck by an eerie silence. Usually, David would be working in his upstairs home office, and I'd hear the clack of his mechanical keyboard or his voice on a call. His deep, confident voice was one I loved listening to. But now, the house felt frozen. Even our cat Max didn't come running to greet me like usual. "David?" I called, closing the door. "Honey, I'm home." Silence. In the living room, I saw signs of him, papers scattered on the coffee table, his favorite mug. World's best husband. My Christmas gift to him, half full with cold coffee. His gray jacket, the one I gave him for his birthday, was slung over the couch. Strange that he didn't answer. Maybe he was wearing headphones? He sometimes listened to music while working on big projects. My stomach growled, reminding me of the bland hospital food I'd barely touched. I thought about heading to the kitchen for an avocado sandwich, but something, maybe a woman's intuition, pulled me toward the bedroom. As I climbed the stairs, I noticed some family photos on the wall were crooked, like someone had brushed past in a hurry. Our wedding photo, me in a white dress, him in a tux, laughing under a shower of rose petals, seemed to stare at me accusingly. The bedroom door was slightly ajar, soft light from the bedside lamp spilling through the crack. I pushed it open and time stopped. In our bed, the one we picked out together 3 years ago, spending an hour testing mattresses, laughing and hugging, lay my husband. But he wasn't alone. Next to him was a woman, young, maybe 25, with long chestnut hair fanned out across my pillow. The one I'd slept on every night for 7 years. Her skin was tanned, flawless, and she was beautiful in a flashy, vulgar way I'd always despised. Painted nails, fake eyelashes, silicone breasts, everything David supposedly hated. "I can't stand fakeness," he'd told me before. "You're so natural. So real. That's what I love about you." Lies. It was all lies. They were so wrapped up in each other, they didn't notice me at first. David was whispering in her ear, his hand gliding over her body. She laughed, throwing her head back, and that laugh, bright, carefree, cut through my heart. The scene was so intimate, so natural, it was clear this wasn't their first time. Maybe not even their second or third. They knew each other, their bodies moving in sync like practiced lovers. On the nightstand, I saw a bottle of champagne. Expensive Dom Perignon, the kind we only drank on special occasions. 2 empty glasses, scattered clothes, and her lingerie, red, lacy, not cheap. Then his eyes met mine. I'll never forget the look on his face. First, complete confusion, his eyes widening, mouth falling open. Then horror. He knew he'd been caught. And then, not shame, not regret, but irritation. As if I was the intruder in my own home. "Linda," he started, his voice shaking. This isn't what you think." The woman saw me too. She yelped and pulled the blanket over herself, her face flushing. But in her eyes, I saw not shame but annoyance at being interrupted, and something else. Defiance? Smugness? "Who's that?" she asked David, her tone almost accusatory, like I was the one out of place. This is my wife," David mumbled, clumsily trying to get out of bed. "Wife?" Her voice jumped an octave. "David, you said you were getting divorced. You said she agreed to it." The world spun. So not only was he cheating on me, he'd lied to her about it. Told her we were done. That our marriage was over. "I can explain," David began, but I cut him off. No words came. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Something inside me broke. Not just my heart, but something deeper. Trust. Faith in the man I loved more than life itself. I just stared at them. At the man who swore he loved me 3 days ago, kissed me in my hospital room, said he missed me. At the woman lying in my bed, under my blanket, on my sheets. "Linda, please, let me explain." David's voice grew desperate. "This isn't what it looks like. It was a mistake. But I was already turning toward the door, words stuck in my throat. I couldn't scream, cry, or make a scene. A strange, cold emptiness filled me. I left the bedroom and heard whispering behind me. "David, what's going on? You said she'd be in the hospital for another week." "Shut up, Tiffany. Let me think." Tiffany. So she had a name. Not just a fling, but a specific woman my husband was building a relationship with while I lay in the hospital. I walked through the living room, past the scattered papers, the cold coffee, all the traces of our life together that turned out to be a lie. At the door, I stopped. My heart was pounding so hard I feared my stitches would tear. My hands shook. My vision blurred. David didn't follow me. I heard his voice from the bedroom, talking to Tiffany, but I couldn't make out the words. Apparently, he decided to deal with his mistress first. That hurt the most. Even in this moment, caught cheating? I wasn't his priority. Outside, the autumn air hit my face. It was cool, the leaves starting to yellow. The world kept moving. Cars drove by. The neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, watered her flowers. Kids played basketball across the street. But my life had just collapsed. I walked to the corner and stopped at a bus stop. My legs shook, and I was afraid I'd collapse. With trembling hands, I called Emily, my best friend. Emily wasn't just a friend. She was a brilliant lawyer who never let anyone take advantage of her and always knew how to protect those she loved. We'd been friends since college. She was a witness at my wedding, and I knew I could trust her with anything. The phone rang for so long I panicked she wouldn't answer. Then I heard her familiar voice. "Linda, how's it going, sweetie? Are you home already?" Her voice was warm, cheerful. She was probably in a great mood, maybe just won a case. Emily was always strong, successful, independent. Everything I wanted to be, but never quite became. "Emily," my voice broke. Her tone shifted instantly. "Linda, what's wrong? Are you okay?" "No, I can't talk on the phone. Can I come over?" "Of course, right now." "Where are you?" "Near the house." "No, not the house." "On the street." Emily, I need help." "Okay, sweetie. Listen to me. Get in a taxi and come to my place. I'll be waiting. Everything's going to be okay. Got it?" "Yes," I whispered and hung up. The taxi took 15 minutes to arrive. I sat on the bus stop bench, clutching my hospital bag, trying not to think about what was happening in my house. Were they thinking about me? Were they continuing? Or discussing what to do next? The driver, a young guy with tattoos on his arms, glanced at me in the rearview mirror. "Everything okay, ma'am?" he asked. "Yes, thank you," I lied. The whole ride, I stared out the window, trying to block out the image of David with that woman. Her laugh, the way she tilted her head back, his hand on her skin. Emily lived downtown in a modern high-rise. Her apartment on the 23rd floor had panoramic windows with a river view. It was the apartment of a successful lawyer. Expensive furniture, art, a huge library. She met me at the elevator, not even waiting for me to reach her door. One look at my face told her something serious had happened. "God, Linda, you're pale as a ghost," she said, hugging me. "What happened?" "David," I started, but the words caught in my throat. "Come in. Sit down." she said, leading me to the living room. "Tell me when you're ready." Her apartment always calmed me. High windows, lots of light, bookshelves, cozy armchairs. The art on the walls wasn't just decor, it was real. I felt safe here. Emily brought me mint tea, calming, and sat next to me on the couch. She didn't rush me or ask questions. She was just there. "I caught him with another woman," I finally said. "In our bed." Emily froze, her cup in hand. Her shoulders tensed, her jaw clenched. "That bastard," she said quietly. "That damn bastard." And then I cried. Everything I'd held back came flooding out. I sobbed like a child, and Emily held me, letting me pour out my pain. "Tell me everything," she said when I calmed down a bit. And I did. About getting discharged early, wanting to surprise David, what I saw in the bedroom, how she called him by name, how he whispered to her, how natural they looked together. "Her name's Tiffany," I said. "She thought we were getting divorced. David told her I'd agreed to it." Emily's face darkened. "So he planned this. This isn't a one-time thing, Linda. This is a full-on affair." 7 years, I whispered. 7 years of marriage. I thought we were happy. You were happy, sweetie. He was using you. We talked late into the night. Emily listened, comforted, and got angry with me. She gave me her pajamas and set me up in her guest room. "Tomorrow, we start fighting back," she said before bed. "But first, you need to protect yourself. Freeze the accounts, change the locks. Show him you're not a victim." I barely slept that night, lying in the dark, thinking about our life together. Were there signs? What did I miss? I remembered how David had been staying late at work more often, how he'd become protective of his phone, taking it into the shower, sleeping with it face down, how he'd grown colder in bed, kissing me less, saying, "I love you," less. I'd chalked it all up to work stress or our struggles to conceive. I thought it was temporary, that we'd get through it. How naive I'd been. In the morning, I woke up with clarity. No more tears, no more doubts. David had chosen his path. Now I'd choose mine. Emily was already in the kitchen making breakfast. Pancakes, fresh berries, coffee. She was always caring, but now I saw something new in her. Determination. "How'd you sleep?" she asked. "Badly, but I'm ready to act." "Good. Let's get started." Over breakfast, she grabbed a notebook and started planning. First, finances. Freeze all joint accounts and credit cards. Second, the house. Change the locks, pack his things. Third, divorce. I'll handle the paperwork. "The house is in my name," I said. "We've almost paid off the mortgage." "Perfect. That's our starting point," Emily said, her eyes gleaming. She always lit up when she had a fight to win. I called the bank first. Mrs. Collins, our account manager for years, was surprised to hear from me. "Mrs. Thompson, how are you? How's your health?" "Thanks for asking, Mrs. Collins. I need to make changes to our accounts. I want to revoke David Thompson's access." "Oh, I see. I'll need to verify your identity. Can you provide your mother's maiden name?" The process took half an hour. Mrs. Collins was professional, asking no extra questions, but I could hear sympathy in her voice. She'd probably seen this before. "All set, Mrs. Thompson. Mr. Thompson no longer has access to your accounts." "Thank you," I said and hung up. David would only realize he'd lost access when he tried to buy something. I wondered what he'd say then. Next, the locks. I found a locksmith who could come that day. I need the most secure locks, I told him over the phone.
No one gets in without my permission. Got it, ma'am. We can install electronic locks with a code, or biometric, fingerprint ones.
Electronic with a code will do. Emily drove me home. We arrived around noon. David's car wasn't there. Probably at work. Or with Tiffany. You can do this, Emily said, squeezing my hand. Inside, I methodically packed David's things. Clothes from the closet, shoes, documents from his office, his razor and shampoo from the bathroom, his favorite watch from the nightstand, the one I gave him for our anniversary. It was surreal, packing up the life of the man I thought I'd spend forever with. Each item held memories. This tie he wore to my design studio presentation. This shirt I ironed for his promotion interview. These jeans we bought together, laughing at how he couldn't pick a size. I didn't destroy anything or seek revenge. I just wanted him gone from my life. But when I opened his nightstand drawer, I froze. Condoms. The pack was opened, a few missing. We hadn't used condoms in years. I was on the pill, and when we started trying for kids, I stopped taking it. These were for her, for Tiffany. I sat on the bed, hand over my mouth to stifle a scream. So he'd brought her here before. Maybe many times. Maybe when I was working late or on a business trip. How many times had they made love in our bed? How many times had he lied to me, saying he loved me, then slept with her? The locksmith, a stocky, middle-aged man named Tom, was understanding when he arrived.
Changing locks after a breakup?
He asked gently. Something like that, I replied.
I get it. Happens a lot. Don't worry. No one's getting in without your say-so.
He worked quickly and professionally. The new locks were secure, electronic with a keypad. Tom showed me how to program them, change codes, and lock them in an emergency.
If anything happens, press this button,
he said, pointing to a small red button on the panel.
It sends an alert straight to security.
Thanks, Tom. This is exactly what I need. By 3 p.m., the house was ready. David's things were packed in boxes and bags, new locks installed. I changed the bedding, threw out the condoms, and erased every trace of their rendezvous. Emily helped me carry David's stuff to the porch, stacking it neatly by the door. Now we wait, she said. He'll show up. We didn't wait long. At 5:30 p.m., I heard his car. David parked in the driveway and sat there for a few minutes, talking on the phone, probably with Tiffany. Then he got out and headed to the house. I watched from the living room window. He looked tired, disheveled, like he'd had a rough day trying to figure out what to say to me. When he saw the boxes on the porch, he froze. Then he tried his key in the door. It didn't work. He tried again, jiggling the key, shaking the door. Nothing. Then he started pounding. Linda, open the door. I need to explain. I walked to the door but didn't open it. Your stuff's on the porch, I said through the door. There's nothing left for you here. Linda, please, it's not what you think. I need to talk to you. Talk? 7 years of marriage, David. 7 years of lies. What's there to talk about? The pounding grew louder, more desperate. Linda, I love you. It was a mistake. One stupid mistake. I laughed, and it sounded bitter even to me. A mistake? The condoms in your nightstand say otherwise. Tiffany thought we were getting divorced, David. You planned this. Silence. He knew. I'd found the condoms. Linda? No. I don't want to hear it. Emily's filing for divorce tomorrow. You'll get the papers. You can't just kick me out of my own house. I can. The house is in my name. I paid the mortgage. You don't live here anymore. The pounding stopped. He must have realized I was serious. Linda, I need my things. Documents. Clothes. It's all on the porch. And money? I need money. Accounts are frozen. Your salary goes to your personal account, so you'll be fine. More silence. Then I heard him walk down the steps, open the boxes, and rummage through them. 10 minutes later, the doorbell rang, calmer but insistent. Linda, I know you're home. I need to say something. I leaned against the door, my heart still aching but my resolve firm. Say it. It's about the kids, not being able to have them. I felt like a failure. I needed to prove I was still a man. His words hurt more than any apology. So it's my fault? Because I couldn't get pregnant? No, that's not what I meant. That's exactly what you meant. You blame me for our infertility, so you found comfort with another woman. Linda, that's not it. Then what? Explain how you can love your wife and sleep with another woman in her bed while she's in the hospital. He didn't answer. What could he say? David, I spent 4 days in the hospital, terrified I'd die on the operating table. You know what I was thinking about? You. How you'd live without me. And you were planning a date with your mistress. I didn't plan it. It just happened. The champagne just happened? Her fancy lingerie just happened? You accidentally told her we were getting divorced? Silence again. Go, David. Now. Where am I supposed to go? To Tiffany. She's waiting for you, since you promised her a divorce. I heard his footsteps, then the sound of his car starting. He drove away, and for the first time in 24 hours, I felt relief, but the story didn't end there. 3 days later, Emily called with news. Linda, you sitting down? Yeah, what's up? Your Tiffany is married, and she has 2 kids. The world spun again. What? Tiffany Martinez, 26, married to Roberto Martinez, a construction contractor. They have twins, a boy and a girl, 4 years old. My God. She wasn't just cheating on her husband. She lied to David just like he lied to you. Told him she was single living alone. How do you know this? Private investigator. I hired one after our talk. Wanted to know who we're dealing with. It took a moment to process. So David was deceived too. Tiffany used him just like he used me. There's more, Emily said. Roberto doesn't know about the affair, but he deserves to, don't you think? I knew what she was suggesting. You're saying we should tell him? I'm saying justice should be served. Your life's been turned upside down. Should his stay perfect while he lives in the dark, thinking he has a happy family? I thought about Roberto Martinez, a man I'd never met, coming home to his wife and kids, not knowing she was cheating, kissing her, trusting her, planning their future, just like I trusted David. Let me think about it. Of course, but think fast. The PI says Tiffany and David are still seeing each other. She's renting an apartment downtown, telling her husband she's working late. I barely slept that night, wrestling with whether I had the right to destroy their family. But then I remembered Tiffany's face in my bed, her smug smile, the way she asked, "Who's that?" like I was the intruder. In the morning, I called Emily. Give me Roberto's address. You sure? Yes. He deserves the truth. Emily gave me his address and phone number. Roberto ran his own construction company, apparently a successful businessman and devoted family man. I dialed his number, my heart racing.
Hello?
A man's voice answered with a slight accent. Mr. Martinez?
Yes. Who's this?
My name's Linda Thompson. I need to meet with you. It's about your wife. A pause. What's wrong with Tiffany?
It's better if we talk in person. It's important.
Where and when? Tonight. Starbucks on Main Street. 7 o'clock. I'll be there. The cafe was half empty, soft music playing. I arrived early, took a corner table, and ordered coffee I couldn't drink. My hands were shaking. Roberto arrived at 7 sharp. A tall, handsome man in his 30s with kind eyes and a worried expression. He scanned the cafe, our eyes met, and he walked over.
Linda Thompson? Yes. Please sit.
He sat across from me, studying my face.
What's going on with Tiffany? Is she in danger?
No, but your marriage is. His face darkened.
What do you mean?
I pulled out the photos the PI had taken. David and Tiffany leaving a hotel, kissing in a car, entering her rented apartment. Roberto took the photos with trembling hands.
This is my wife,
he whispered.
Yes, with my husband. Well, ex-husband.
He stared at the photos, then looked up at me.
How long have you known? 4 days. I caught them in my bedroom.
God.
I'm so sorry I had to show you this, but I believe you have a right to know.
He set the photos down and covered his face with his hands.
The kids. We have 2 kids.
I know, it hurts me too, but living a lie isn't a life. We sat in the cafe for an hour and a half. Roberto talked about his family, how much he loved Tiffany, their plans for the future. I told him about David, our marriage, the hospital.
She said she was working late,
Roberto said.
New project, big client. I believed her. I even took on more with the kids so she could focus. My husband worked a lot too. I thought he was doing it for our future. What are you going to do? Get a divorce? You? I don't know. The kids will grow up. And they'll grow up in a family built on lies. Is that good for them?
He didn't answer, but I saw in his eyes that he understood. A week later, Emily called with an update. Roberto kicked Tiffany out. She's living in that rented apartment with your ex-husband. What about the kids?
With their dad for now. Tiffany's filed for custody.
And David?
Lost his job. Roberto called all their company's partners, told them what kind of man David is. His reputation's shot. I didn't feel joy at the news. Just emptiness. Did I do the right thing?
You did the honest thing. Roberto deserved the truth. A month later, I got a letter from David. He wanted to meet, said he realized his mistake, was ready to fight for our marriage. I tore it up before finishing. 6 months later, the divorce was finalized, and I kept the house. I sold it and bought an apartment in a new neighborhood, wanting a fresh start without memories. One day at the supermarket, I saw Tiffany. She was in line, looking tired, older. Her makeup was sloppy, her clothes cheap. Our eyes met. She recognized me, and I saw anger in her gaze. "Happy now?" she asked. "No," I said honestly. "I was never happy about this."
"You ruined my family."
"I didn't ruin your family. You did that when you cheated on your husband." She opened her mouth to respond, but I walked away. A year later, I ran into Roberto at that same cafe. He was with a little girl, one of the twins. Linda? Hey, Roberto, how are you? Better. Slowly, but better. And the kids? With me. Tiffany sees them on weekends. I'm glad things are working out. Thanks for telling me the truth. It hurt, but it's better to know than live in the dark. The girl tugged at his sleeve. Daddy, who's that lady? She's a nice lady who helped Daddy, Roberto said. I smiled at the girl and left. 2 years later, I was back at the design studio with new friends and new interests. The pain had faded, leaving only wisdom. David married Tiffany. Emily told me, but I felt nothing. They deserved each other. Roberto remarried too, a teacher who loved his twins like her own. And me? I learned to be alone, to trust myself more than anyone else, to understand that sometimes the best revenge is simply moving on. But sometimes, late at night, I still think about that day I caught David and Tiffany in our bed. How my life changed in a single moment. How fragile love can be, even when we think it's forever. But I won't give up. Someday I'll believe again. Someday I'll love again. This time, I'll pay closer attention to the signs. Did you like the story? Write your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next interesting story. See you tomorrow.